Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in to Codeblaquefacts. So in this video, I want to talk about the costs that Black women pay to help those who are incarcerated, mostly the males, the men. It's in the billions, you guys, and it's really sickening. And it's not so much the money, it's the cost that many Black women pay, their mental health. They pay with, their physical health. They pay with so much more. And I think that this goes untalked about, unappreciated. And when we talk about, the community, and we talk about the support, and we talk about loyalty, a lot of times on social media, we see, and more recently where we saw, Jason Whitlock sit up and talk about how Black women are to blame for the 4 Black police officers. Actually, it was 5 of them. I'm sorry. Excuse me. 5 Black police officers who deleted another Black male. And he sat up here and he blamed Black women. And then, of course, that started the conversation. And of course, it was a divided conversation, but it started the conversation about how, Black women are to blame. Black single mothers are to blame, or, how bad Black women are within the community. And, it's disgusting because when you look at who is really supporting the community, right? And we're talking about statistics. We're talking about things that can actually be measured, not some delusional idea that somebody comes up with. We're talking about things that can actually be tracked and measured, like money. And when we talk about the prison system, and we talk about the many, many millions of Black men, right, who are within the prison system and who is supporting them, the mothers, the sisters, when we talk about these men who get deleted by each other, by the police, we talk about the people who are on the front lines. These are Black women. So let's start with the video. Black women spend a disgusting amount of money towards Black male incarceration. Women are the majority caretakers and supporters of men who are in prison. Black women particularly make up an overwhelming majority of those who support Black men who are incarcerated. This is very one-sided because in the reverse, Black women who are incarcerated do not get nearly the same amount of care or support from men like the men get from them when they are incarcerated. So I was strolling through Instagram and I saw this picture of incarcerated rapper C Murder and his 3 daughters. Below the picture, Mr. C Murder is expressing his joy for having all 3 of his daughters come to visit him in prison. Most people would look at the picture and think, oh, it's good that he has the support of his children and they all look happy. Because I don't see things one-sided, I could not help but think to myself, how many Black women and girls are riddled with the generational burden of caring for Black males who go to prison, or the money that they spend to feed them, clothe them, communicate with them, and overall take care of them for years while they are locked up. After that thought, I began to look up the statistics, and when I tell you what I found, you guys are going to be disgusted. All right, so let me give you guys some background on C Murder. C Murder, whose government name is Corey Miller, he was born March 9, 1971, is a rapper and songwriter from the 1990s. Many of us remember him from his brother Master P's record label, No Limit Records. C Murder was a rap artist on his brother's record label and a part of a affiliated label called True. It's TRU. C Murder also played in movies that Master P produced back in the day, and he also dated R&B song singer Monica back in the day. And some people say that they're dating in today's time. I went to C Murder's Instagram page after seeing the picture, And I did see some pictures that he had of Monica. And she's like the only woman on his page, and she's basically in the pictures modeling some of the Truth's clothing or something of that nature. If you guys are interested in seeing more of that, just go to Instagram, type in C Murder, and his page will come up. So in 2002, C Murder was arrested and charged with the murder of a 16-year-old boy by the name of Steve Thomas. C Murder was sentenced to life in prison in August of 2009. C Murder has been serving his life sentence ever since. So he's been in prison for about 14 years now. Now, of course, C Murder and many of his family members maintain his innocence. Now, this is the thing that I want you guys to take into consideration. All right? I want you guys to take into consideration C Murder's name, like his actual name. And what people need to realize is that it's a spiritual realm that exists. And that, we can't physically see it with the eye, right? So when you're calling yourself something like C Murder, guess what type of nonsense is going to that you're going to attract, even when you're not trying to. And this is why people need to be very, aware of the words that they speak out of their mouth, because you can call things into your life. You can, create a reality built around the very words that you speak to yourself and those that you speak to others. You can bring that stuff into existence. And that's a spiritual note that I want you guys to be aware of. All right. Now, I know some of you guys may not be spiritual in that way. So whatever however you take this is how you take it. But it's true. It's absolutely true. All right. All right. So moving forward. So after doing some research, here is an overview of what I found. All right. So stay tuned, because I'm going to break all of this down, and I'm going to give you guys some real life stories of Black women who have been supporting men for years. All right. So here's some of the other statistics that I found. Okay. So prisons cost the payers $80 billion a year. All right. To house 2.5 million bodies behind bars. All right. The amount that the family and friends give to those who are incarcerated is 2.9 billion. All right, you guys, I did not say million, I said billion. 2.9 billion. That's almost $3 billion. And that's only, all right, commissary and phone calls. That does not include the legal fees. It does not include the gas or phone or plane tickets. It does not include hotel room stays. It does not include car maintenance. It does not include child care. It does not include health care. All right, the list goes on. So that 2.9 billion is only the commissary and the phone calls, not all the other stuff. All right. On average, the average family pays about $13,000 per year towards a loved one, okay, who is locked up. The majority of the 80 billion are women, and within that majority women, right, they are Black women. The majority is Black women, you guys. All right. And we're talking about many of these women supporting men from 2 years all the way to 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. We're talking about women who are supporting their sons, their boyfriends, all right, their nephews, their cousins, their dads, their granddads even, you guys. All right. Black women who are doing this for those men who are overwhelmingly unmarried. These women are unmarried and single, which means that they are doing this as the girlfriend or the baby mama or that special friend, as C Murder like to call Monica. All right. These women are the mothers, the sisters, the aunts, the homegirls and daughters of these men. All right. The girlfriends and the wives, they live on the hopes and dreams where many of them will hope that one day the dude is going to get out of prison and they're going to reciprocate the love, the support, and the loyalty that was given when they were locked up. And they're hoping that they're going to one day get married even and go live this happily ever after, family. And this is the thing, the minority of those cases, there are some cases, but they're in the minority. The majority of these cases, these men get out and they leave these women. They get out and they go start whole other families. And when they get out, they still have to, to do the right thing. All right. Men who get out, they're 3 times more likely to go back within 3 years. All right. So again, the odds are stacked up against many of these women. All right. So it's like, and I know that your head and your heart is supposed to be connected, but a lot of times it's just not. It's just not. And these women are supporting these men with money and God knows whatever else, right? And the money could be going towards what? You guys, the money could be going towards, the man's children, because let's just be honest here, many of these men have children. They left a lot of these women as baby mamas. They left a lot of these women as wives who are raising their children along, single mothers. All right, C. Murder himself, he has 3 daughters. All right. You got other people, many, many men. Okay. I can go down the list and name the celebrity men who went to prison, who left the women in their lives as baby mothers, single wives out here, doing things on their own, only for them to get out and do what? Go to another woman. All right. Okay, so let's get into some individual stories, you guys, of of some of these stories, because I want this to be true. I want you guys to see the humanity in this, because sometimes through storytelling, you guys can many of us can relate. All right. So there's one story, you guys, of this black woman who is spending thousands to take care of a convicted rapist, you guys. There's also another story of a woman whose ex-husband has been in prison for 28 years and she pays about $200 per month for commissary, you guys. This just makes, it just gives me the shivers when I hear that. And I know we've all had, family members who have been to jail or prison in some sort, and we've all supported them in some kind of way, whether that be taking the time out to write them a letter, whether that be sending them money, whether that be helping a family member who's going to support them and send them money, watching children, helping out with their children who are out here on the outside. We've all experienced that in some way or fashion, and that includes myself. I've had family members go to jail or prison where I've, helped out with the children, helped out with, college, helped out with all types of different things because they had an incarcerated father. All right. So, okay, so the New York Times had a write-up about how families cope with the hidden cost of incarceration for the holidays. All right. And so in this write-up, they go into interviews where they are talking to women who have incarcerated loved ones. So pulling from this article, I'm going to pull these stories. And it's not just these women. You can go to TikTok and type in prison story. And there literally is a hashtag that has like 2-point-something billion people talking about their prison story or somebody that they know who's incarcerated. So I'm just going to use this write-up so that I can give you guys some more realistic examples of what I'm talking about, okay, when it comes to black women and black women supporting many of these men who are incarcerated. And it's just so, in my opinion, it's just so heartbreaking because this does not get any coverage, right? And what will happen is you'll have a lot of people, more specifically men, who will use this against the women, right? They'll say, "Oh, well, you guys are supporting all these, criminals. You guys are the reason why these criminals X, Y, and Z. And it's like, okay, they'll take that and they'll use it against black women to say, oh, look, you guys are supporting these men. But it's the very men that they themselves also support. Are we not going to speak about the many rappers who, went through whatever they went through in the prison industry, who were supported by the women that were in their lives, who are right now today, put on pedestals as the kings of this and that, right? The Jay-Z's, the Jeezys, the Dr. Dre's, right? At one point, these men were supported by the women, the black women who were in their lives when they were locked up, when they got into some problems, and who are also in the minority for being able to come out, become millionaires and billionaires, and turn their lives around. They are in the very minute minorities, because the majority of black men get out and go right back. The majority of black men, get out and don't do the right thing. Get out and go, and pass away, or are deleted by each other. The majority of them. See, the majority of them are not your Jay-Z's, your 50 Cents, your Jeezys, your whomever else's, your Rick Ross's. Well, I don't think Rick Ross went to jail. I think he worked for the jail. But you guys get what I'm saying. Those are not the majority. Those are pipe dreams that many of them lie about. So the majority are your Tukey. Y'all remember Tukey Williams? Remember, he was up to on death row back in 2005. Remember all the people that came out in support of him, right? Remember Tukey Williams? He's one of the co-founders of the gang, the Crips gang, right? Remember him? So all the mess that he did in his younger day, he didn't spend his younger years out here, creating programs for young black boys and men, because they definitely need it. He spent his younger years, just being chaotic, doing all kinds of crazy things, right? And then he goes to prison, and he spends many, many years in prison while he waits on death row. Okay? The man has children. He left some black woman a baby mother. All right? He has 3 sons. But I bring him up because, again, this is what many advocated for. They wanted him to get off. They wanted him to be let go, forgive his past. And the interesting thing about forgiving the past is that you will have many of these men, okay, I named many of them, Jay-Z, 50 Cent, Jeezy, the list goes on and on and on and on, DMX, the list just goes on. They've done things. They've, went to jail for all types of different crimes. They get out and they have the support of the community to go live right and do the right thing. Whereas you have women like Amber Rose, who, has never been to prison, never deleted anybody, never been in connection with deleting anybody. But, her so-called past, right, never gets lived down. You have you also have someone like Sierra, who dated a thug, right? A Pookie, a Ray Ray. Do you think they let Sierra live that down? Do you think that her past is forgiven? Do we see that? No, we don't. It's always brought up. But mind you, Sierra's never been to prison. She's never deleted anybody or been in connection with deleting anyone. But she doesn't get to, be forgiven for that. That just goes to show how the community will do. Look at how the community is doing Lori Harvey. Do you think she gets to live down the different men that she's dated? You think that her past gets to be forgiven for the men that she's dated? Now, mind you, she's not out here deleting these men. She's not out here, not even speaking against these men, right? Not even, undermining these men. She's living her young, beautiful, carefree life. And yet and still, you have so many of the people in the community bringing up her past, as a way to try to muddy her name. But they be in full support of the Pookie and Ray Ray, such as a Tukey Williams, a man who is in connections with a lot of deleting of other black men. That's the community will give him the support. They will forgive him of his past. All he has to do is go to prison and write a child's book, and he's forgiven. He's forgiven. You see how that works? Do you guys see the sickness in that? That's a sickness within our community that we really do need to address. But somebody like a Tukey Williams, right? He gets to be advocated for to be released and get to live all of his dangerous past down. Somebody like a Jeezy, somebody like a Jay-Z who was convicted for stabbing somebody, you guys. They get to live that down. They get to start over. They get to be good people. You see how that works? It's insane. It's insane. And don't get me wrong. Do I think people, deserve a second chance? Yes, but it depends on a second chance. It depends on what that second chance is, right? What have you been convicted for? What did it have anything to do with children? Did it have anything to do with murder? Did it have anything to do with helping? Did it have anything to do with heinous crimes? You know what I'm saying? Like what? Because it just depends. It really depends. And it's a case by case situation with me, right? But moving on, let's go to some of these stories, you guys. I'm sorry, I went off on a little tangent, but so all right. So there's a lady by the name of Talita Hayes, and it says that she spends about $200 a month on her ex. She sends her ex-husband $200 a month in commissary. All right. And he's been in prison for 28 years. All right. It goes on to say that that's just commissary. It says that she spends $2,161 it says, okay, so it says that is not the only way his imprisonment drains her wallet. On top of the $2,161 she puts in his commissary account so far this year, Ms. Hayes has paid $3,586 in charges for talking to him on the phone when she cannot make the hour-long drive to the prison, and then another $419 for emails sent through the prison email system. All right. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, they estimate that in the United States spend more than $80 billion each year to keep roughly 2.3 million people behind bars. All right. It goes on to say that it does not include the many hidden costs that the family members and friends pay for loved ones, with women overwhelmingly shouldering the financial burden. Those costs rise during the holiday season. Relatives say as they make more visits, call more often, and spend more money to help take care of these inmates, right? It says that a national data on how much family pay into the correction system is rarely gathered. So to better understand the hidden cost of incarceration, the Marshall Project plan asks people to document their spending. Okay, so this is where we're getting that amount from, and the spending can be documented, you guys. So I don't want somebody coming up under the comment section talking about, oh, well, we can't really prove it. It can be proven. When you send money to somebody who is in prison, it's documented, because many people are using Western Union. Many people are using some kind of money thing to send these people, which can be documented and tracked. All right. There's another story. It says, I think the biggest misconception that people have about prison is that the state pays for everything, wrote Connie Martin, who is 50, from Hazel Park, Michigan. No one realizes that it's the friends and families of the loved ones who pay. The Prison Policy Initiative, an organization working to reduce mass incarceration, estimates that families spend $2.9 billion a year on commissary accounts and phone calls. Families are also often responsible for paying for court fees, restitution, and fines that a member goes to prison when a member goes to prison. According to the 2015 report by Ella Baker Center for Human Rights, the average family pay roughly $13,000 in fines and fees. A lady by the name of Kay Boone, 52, says she spends $100 a month on her boyfriend, not her husband, but her boyfriend. This woman is 52, you guys, with a boyfriend who's in prison named Charles Lee Isaac, who is 52 also, who's incarcerated in the Graceville work camp in Graceville, Florida. All right, so he was incarcerated for failing to drug test, a violation of his parole for an earlier offense. Ms. Boone says the monthly cost goes towards toiletries and food. The one hotel size bar soap, all right, that Isaac gets each week from the prison won't last through a full week of showers. All right, keeping Mr. Isaac clean and fed has forced Ms. Boone to make trade-offs in her own life. All right, sometimes she struggles to pay her own bills. They're quoting her and saying, I had one of my cars repossessed because I would prefer to send him money and make sure he's taken care of, she said. This is sad. So while this woman is out here sending this man all this money, her car is being repossessed. She's going through struggles within her own life. This is just sad. This is really sad. And just imagine, many of these men have children. Many of these women are out here taking care and raising these children. So the children are also suffering sometimes. All right. And then it talks about this article goes on to talk about the mental and emotional burden that many of these women face from those who are incarcerated, the mothers and the grandmothers. All right. So these articles are talking about just the girlfriends and the ex-wives, but we're leaving out the mothers and the grandmothers, the aunts of many of these men. All right. It says in many facilities, basic items are sold by private vendors, often with substantial markups or added service fees. Over the years, the cost to families has increased as prison and jails across the country increasingly outsource many of the basic functions of running a correctional facility to private companies. All right. Let's see. Prison officials. I'm not going to read this whole thing. It says back in the day we could buy. So it goes on to talk about, it says over the 2 years since the couple reconnected after a 12-year separation, Ms. Hayes estimates that she has spent upwards of $10,000 supporting her ex-husband in prison. He is serving a life sentence for aggravated rape. So the cost of staying in touch could extend for many years. All right. There's another case where it talks about a lady by the name of Dawn Hodges, 47, moved back to her hometown. She learned that her childhood friend TJ Davis, also 47, was serving a 2-year sentence for driving on a suspended license. Mr. Davis had been in and out of prison over the years as he struggled to overcome a drug addiction. Although he had been sober and out of trouble for nearly a decade, the driving charge violation violated the terms of his parole. At first, Miss Hodges wrote Mr. Davis letters, but when their exchanges rekindled old feelings, they wanted to stay in touch more often. So Miss Hodges brought Mr. Davis a tablet device. The tablet, which cost $80, offer Florida prisoners more ways to connect with people back home, including email and video calls, but at a price. Each email requires a digital stamp, which costs $12 for a set of 30. Pictures and attachments require additional stamps. Ms. Hodges says the emails Mr. Davis at least once a day, blowing through 30 to 40 stamps a month. You guys, add that up. Add that up. All right. So again, I'm not going to go through this whole article. I just wanted to point out some of those real life stories. I will post this in the description box if you guys want to read over it word by word. But again, this is the backbone, right? So, you know, when we hear people say black women are the backbone, that's what they're talking about. That's what they're talking about. And it's not a good title, in my opinion, for black women to have, but we have it. We have it. We're known for it. We're known for that. So, you guys, that's all I have. I am interested to know what your thoughts are. You guys leave your thoughts down in the comment section. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new. If this is some of the commentary that if you guys are interested in all things black, where I talk about all types of things concerning the black community, those within the black community, please feel free to subscribe. Also, leave a comment. Also, show your girl some love and like the video. And until next time, peace.